The first time I saw my wife truly panic wasn't when the bank called or when the credit card was declined at a restaurant. It was when she walked into our living room and saw 3 strangers sitting on her custom beige sofa, holding clipboards and wearing blue latex gloves. She froze in the doorway, her $600 sunglasses pushed up into her hair, a dozen shopping bags sliding from her fingers to the floor. "Who are these people?" she demanded, her voice rising to that familiar screech that usually signaled the start of an argument I would lose. "And why are they touching my things?" One of the women stood up, adjusted her glasses, and didn't even look at me for permission. "Mrs. Miller," she said calmly, "we are estate liquidators. We're here to appraise the assets before the seizure begins." My wife looked at me, waiting for me to fix it, waiting for me to pull out a credit card or make a phone call, like I always did. But I just took a sip of my coffee and turned the page of my newspaper. "They aren't here for me, Rebecca," I said, my voice steady for the first time in 5 years. "They're here for you. To understand why I dismantled my own life to escape the woman I promised to love forever, you have to go back to the moment I realized I wasn't a husband anymore. I was just a wallet with a pulse. It started subtly, like a leak in a roof. You don't notice until the ceiling collapses. Rebecca and I had been married for 5 years. In the beginning, she worked as a marketing coordinator. We split bills, we saved for vacations, we were partners. Then, 3 years ago, she took a break to focus on her mental health after a minor conflict with her boss. I supported it. I took on extra shifts at the logistics firm where I managed supply chains. I wanted her to be happy. But the break never ended. It evolved. "I can't go back to a toxic corporate environment, Mark," she told me 6 months in, while unpacking 3 boxes of designer shoes. "My therapist says I need to focus on curating my environment." Curating her environment apparently meant turning our home into a warehouse for luxury goods while I worked 60-hour weeks. The incident that broke me happened on a Tuesday. I came home at 7:30 p.m., exhausted, my back aching from a day of putting out fires at the warehouse. The house was a disaster. Not just lived in messy, but neglected. Dishes were piled so high in the sink they were sliding onto the counter. The trash was overflowing. A smell of rotting fruit hung in the kitchen. Rebecca was on the couch, surrounded by packages. She looked pristine, fresh blowout, manicured nails, new athleisure wear that cost more than my car payment. "You're late," she said without looking up from her phone. "I'm starving. Did you pick up dinner?" I looked at the kitchen. "Rebecca, you've been home all day. Did you do anything? The sink? The trash?" She rolled her eyes, a gesture so practiced it felt like a physical slap. "Don't start with me, Mark. I had a grueling day. I had my lash appointment, then I had to return those boots, and the line at the post office was traumatizing. My anxiety is through the roof." "Your anxiety prevents you from taking out the trash but not from shopping for 4 hours?" I asked, putting my keys down. "You don't understand the pressure women are under," she snapped. "I have to maintain myself." "It's work, Mark. Looking this good is work. You should be grateful I put in the effort so you don't have an ugly wife." "I'd rather have a helpful wife," I muttered. She stood up, throwing her phone onto the cushion. "That is financial abuse. Expecting me to be your maid? I am a homemaker." "Homemaker?" I gestured to the filth around us. "What home are you making? You don't cook. You don't clean. You don't work. You just spend. I checked the account today." You spent $4,000 this month on—" What is all this? Self-care. She screamed. It's an investment. And don't you dare talk to me about money. Your job is to provide. My job is to be the peace in this home. There is no peace here, Rebecca, only debt and dirty dishes. If you don't like it, hire a maid. She yelled, storming past me. I am not scrubbing toilets. It ruins my manicure. She slammed the bedroom door. I stood in the kitchen, smelling the rotting fruit, and realized that she didn't see me as a partner. She saw me as an obstacle to her lifestyle. I didn't yell back. I didn't pound on the door. I cleaned the kitchen. I washed the dishes. I took out the trash. And while I scrubbed the dried sauce off a plate she had left there 3 days ago, I made a plan. The next morning I called the bank. I didn't cut her off immediately. That would give her ammunition for her financial abuse narrative. Instead, I requested a full audit of our last 3 years of spending. Then I called a lawyer. I need to know what a divorce looks like, I told him. In this state, it's 50-50th, the lawyer said. She hasn't worked in 3 years. You'll be on the hook for alimony, unless ... Unless what? Unless you can prove financial infidelity or gross misconduct. But being lazy isn't a crime, Mark. Spending money you earned isn't a crime if you have a joint account. I hung up, feeling defeated. If I left her now, I'd be paying her to do nothing for the rest of my life. I needed her to show her hand. I needed her to prove that she wasn't just bad with money, but actively destroying us. I went home that night and initiated phase 1. Rebecca, I said over the takeout I had bought, we need to talk about the budget. The warehouse is cutting overtime. My paycheck is going to drop by about 30% starting next month. It was a lie. I had actually just been promoted. But I needed to see if she could adapt. She stopped chewing. What? No, that's impossible. I already put a deposit down on the CABO trip for my birthday. We have to cancel CABO, I said calmly. We have to cut back. No more weekly nail appointments. No more shopping hauls. We need to save. She stared at me like I had suggested we eat the dog. I am not canceling CABO. All the girls are going. I already posted about it. We can't afford it, Rebecca. Then get a second job, she shrieked. Drive Uber. Sell your golf clubs. I don't care. You are not ruining my life because you're a failure at work. A failure? I asked quietly. I pay for everything. It's not enough. She slammed her hand on the table. I have standards, Mark. If you can't meet them, figure it out. But do not tell me to budget. Budgeting is for poor people. She stormed out again. But this time she didn't just go to the bedroom. She left the house. I got a notification on my phone an hour later. A charge for $500 at a high-end bar downtown. Then another for $300. Then a withdrawal of $200 cash. She wasn't cutting back. She was punishing me. I waited up for her. She stumbled in at 2 a.m., smelling of expensive gin and someone else's cologne. Where were you? I asked. Out, she slurred, kicking off her heels. With people who appreciate me. People who have money. Who paid for tonight? You did, she smiled cruelly. Consider it a fee for stressing me out. She passed out on the bed fully clothed. I took her phone from her purse. I know, invasion of privacy. But we had a joint plan, and she used my old passcode. I opened her messages. There was a group chat with her friends, the homemakers she spent her days with. "Rebecca, Mark is trying to cut my allowance. Says he lost hours, loser. Friend 1, oh my God, no. Don't let him. If you start budgeting, he'll think he can control you. Friend 2, just max out the cards, babe. If he divorces you, half the debt is his anyway. Might as well have the bags to show for it." Rebecca, exactly. I'm going to book the CABO trip on his emergency card tomorrow. He won't notice until it's too late. I screenshotted everything. I sent the photos to my secure email. Then I put the phone back. The next day I went to work, but I didn't go to the warehouse. I went to the bank. "I need to separate my finances," I told the manager. "You can open a personal account," she said, "but the joint debt. Until a court order says otherwise, you're both liable." "I know," I said. "I just need my direct deposit moved today." I moved my entire paycheck into a new account she couldn't access. I left exactly enough in the joint account to pay the mortgage and the utilities. Not a penny more. Then I waited. 2 days later, she called me at work, screaming. My card was declined. I am at the salon with foil in my hair, and the card declined. "Fix it." "The account is empty, Rebecca," I said calmly. "I told you, we have to cut back." There was $5,000 in there yesterday. Bills came out, mortgage came out. That's it. That's the reality. You did this on purpose. You are embarrassing me. You embarrassed yourself by spending money we don't have. Pay with cash or leave. I don't have cash. Then I guess you're not getting your hair done. I hung up. She called back 20 times. I silenced the phone. When I got home, she was waiting, but she wasn't alone. Her mother was there. Linda was where Rebecca got her attitude, but magnified by 20 years of bitterness. "Mark," Linda said, sitting at my dining table like a judge, "Rebecca tells me you are financially abusing her, cutting off her access to funds. That is grounds for a lawsuit. She spent $4,000 on clothes last month, Linda. I paid the mortgage. That's not abuse. That's math." "She has needs," Linda argued. "She is a delicate flower. She cannot live like a peasant. You knew what you were signing up for. You married a high-maintenance woman. You have to maintain her." "I signed up for a partner," I said, "not a dependent." "If you don't unlock the cards," Rebecca threatened, "I will divorce you, and I will take the house. I will take your 401k. I will take the dog." "You hate the dog," I reminded her. "You say he sheds on your leggings. I'll take him just to spite you." That was the moment, the threat. "Okay," I said, "if that's what you want." I walked into the bedroom and packed a bag. "Where are you going?" Rebecca asked, suddenly looking less confident. "You can't leave." "Who's going to make dinner?" "Order takeout," I said. "Oh, wait, you can't. I stayed at a hotel for 3 days. During those 3 days, Rebecca went nuclear. She couldn't use the credit cards because I had reported them lost, which, technically, they were lost to her insanity. She couldn't access my paycheck, so she started selling things. I got alerts from our home security system. She was moving furniture out. She was selling my electronics. She sold my golf clubs on Facebook Marketplace for a fraction of their value. She sent me texts. "I'm selling your crap to survive. You are starving me." She wasn't starving. The fridge was full. She just couldn't buy Gucci. I let her do it. I let her sell the TV. I let her sell the gaming console. I let her sell the dining chairs, because every single sale was documented on the security cameras. Every transaction was proof of her dissipating marital assets during a separation. On the fourth day I came back, the house echoed. It was half empty. She was sitting on the floor eating pizza. She must have borrowed money to buy. "You're back," she smirked. "Ready to apologize?" "No," I said. "I'm ready to liquidate." "What? You said you wanted a divorce." "You said you wanted half. Okay, let's give you half." I handed her a legal document. "What is this?" "I filed," I said, "and I petitioned for an emergency asset freeze because you've been selling marital property. The judge granted it this morning because I have video of you selling my things illegally." Her face went pale. "You can't do that." "I did. And since we have significant debt created, we have to settle up." The court ordered a liquidation of assets to pay off the creditors before we split anything. "What does that mean?" "It means," I pointed to the door, "they are here." The doorbell rang. That brings us back to the beginning. The estate liquidators. They walked in. They weren't there for the house. They were there for the investments Rebecca claimed she had been making. "Mrs. Miller," the appraiser said, walking over to the pile of designer bags in the corner, "we are seizing all luxury goods purchased in the last 3 years to satisfy the outstanding credit card debt." "No." Rebecca screamed, throwing herself over a pile of Louis Vuitton boxes. "These are mine. These are my emotional support items." "They are marital assets purchased on credit," the appraiser said coldly. "And since you are unemployed, they are the only liquid assets available." They started tagging things. The shoes, the coats, the bags, the jewelry I had bought her. "Mark, stop them." She begged, grabbing my arm. "This is humiliating. My friends will find out." "Your friends?" I asked. "The ones who told you to max out the cards? Maybe they can lend you money." They cleared the house of everything valuable that belonged to her. They left my work clothes. They left the kitchen appliances. They took her closet. By the end of the day, the house felt lighter. Rebecca sat on the floor, sobbing into her hands. "You ruined me," she whispered. "I have nothing." "You have half the debt," I corrected her. "Actually, my lawyer is arguing that since the debt was incurred for non-marital purposes, your self-care, and you dissipated assets by selling my things, you are responsible for 80% of it. And since you're able-bodied and college-educated, the judge is very unlikely to grant alimony. He's going to tell you to get a job." "I can't work." She wailed. "I have anxiety." "Then I guess you'll have anxiety at work," I said. The divorce took 6 months. It was brutal. She tried to smear me on social media, claiming I was abusive. I posted the receipts literally. I posted the budget breakdowns, the text messages from her group chat, and the video of her selling my golf clubs for cash to buy pizza. Public opinion shifted fast. Her homemaker friends abandoned her the moment she couldn't afford brunch. She ended up moving back in with her mother. Last I heard, she's working as a receptionist at a car dealership. She hates it. She has to wear a uniform. I kept the house. I refinanced, paid off my portion of the debt, and adopted a second dog. Sometimes I sit in my clean, quiet living room. I don't have designer pillows. I don't have a curated aesthetic. I have peace. And every time I see a charge on my credit card, I smile because I know exactly what it's for. And I know that nobody is going to scream at me for not earning enough to cover it. I learned that love isn't about providing a lifestyle. It's about building a life. And if someone is only with you for the lifestyle, you're not a husband. You're a host. And the only way to get rid of a parasite is to cut off the food supply.